What's going on YouTube? My name is CymenSniped and welcome back to the channel. Today's video is going to be an updated guide on how to tackle both the dangerclose bosses in Season 7. Oh, and before you grab a coffee and relax, I'd like to announce that we have our own official Discord server now. If you'd like to just hang out or join the community doing all sorts of fun stuff, you'll find a link in the description below. Without further ado, let's get into it. The bosses we'll be facing in Season 7 are Nervier and Moderator Type B. If you're unfamiliar with any of these bosses, I will leave their past mechanics in this corner of the screen so you can check it out later after this guide video. Let us start off the guide with Nervier. Just a quick recap for those who may be new to these videos, Nervier is a ranger class boss who is weak to air units due to the fact that most of her skills does not affect flying units. She spawns ads at intervals to keep your team busy, stopping you from actually doing any meaningful damage to the boss. As a general rule of thumb, you want to use air units you have at your disposal as the main DPS contributor to the fight. The key units for this fight is the exact same as the previous season. You want Rosaria as your main DPS, Adele to spawn ads to help push towards the boss, and supports that can boost the team's damage overall. Anything that potentially shortens the time it takes for you to reach the boss can be used in your team. The longer we progress through the seasons, our gears will gradually improve, and you'll have more freedom to play around with your team composition. Other than Adele and Rosaria, you have the freedom to choose if you want a healer in the team, or use other awakened units to boost your own damage, and also choose the ship that fits you best. However, Enterprise and Kami Izumi are your best bet for the boss fight this season. As for gear sets and recommendation, as a baseline, you want Adele to be using attack speed set. If not, any type related sets will also work as well. You may not be the one killing the ads, but as long as the enemy comes in contact with her attacks, they will spawn ads even if the killing blow was dealt by an ally. Rosaria should use your best 72% CDR mace set, but if you don't have one, a full attack set with crit damage substats work as well. Just make sure to redeploy her as much as you can to spam her ultimate skill. Supports should also have as much skill haste as you possibly can, however if that's not possible, other tanky sets like HP sets are also viable. I will include a complete run using this specific comp, so in case you'd like to follow, you can check out the deployment sequence at the end of this video. Also, if you haven't already, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel as it really helps with the YouTube algorithm. When more people see this video, the more content I can make. Moving on to our next boss, Moderator Type B. If you have been playing Counter-Strike for a while, chances are you're already familiar with this boss. But just a quick recap, Mod Type B is also a ranger class boss who is susceptible to strikers. It has 3 phases where it gradually moves from the far end to the middle, and lastly enrages when it has 1 remaining HP bar or when the timer reaches around 1 minute and 3 seconds. If you'd like to know more about this boss, I'll also leave an order guide right here where I shared more about its mechanics. There are 2 ways you can deal with this boss this season, and I will explain them to you next. The first strategy requires a certain degree of gears, and the objective is to kill the boss under 1 minute or just slightly more than 1 minute. This basically also means the boss is killed upon reaching the middle or even before that. To do this is the team comp that you can use. Depending on your gears, you might still make it work with other replacements of your own choice. Now, to know if this strategy is for you, you'll need to check if you can keep Chifuyu, Roy, Jane Doe, and Awakened Yumina alive past the first DPS check. You'll also need to time your new Detroit ultimate ship skill with your Soyun's deployment and special skill for the necessary big burst of damage during that small tiny window. In case you do not have the gears to do that, let's move on to the second strategy. The second way to deal with Mod Type B this season is to anticipate and prepare for the boss's final phase. The easiest way to do this requires Awakened Hilde and Lin Xian. Although it is not necessary to have more than 30% skill haste on Lin Xian, it is advisable to have as much as you can on her without compromising the CDR sets you need for your Nervier fight. As for the other units that make up the team, you will need the standard strikers like Chifuyu, Roy, and Terminator. Complement that with other strikers such as Admin Sword Fighter, and Soyun is also necessary during the times where you need to do some burst damage. Here are a few things you need to do in order for this strategy to work. Number 1, Awakened Hilde needs to be redeployed in front of the boss when it reaches the middle of the field. Number 2, Lin Xian must have her ultimate ready or almost ready just before the boss reaches 1 HP bar. Number 3 applies for the final phase. Prioritize your main DPS deployed in the middle of the boss. Deep buffers are slightly behind the DPS, and replace a unit to tank the front should Awakened Hilde die during this particular phase. In the event that you do not have Awakened Hilde, you will need to replace one of the strikers with a tank and one of the supports in your team with a healer. In this case, I would highly recommend either Chinatsu or Evelyn. With that, you have done all you should do, and the rest is now in the hands of RNGesus. When I almost forgot to mention, the best ship you can use for the boss is actually New Detroit, but if you don't have this ship, you can also opt for Enterprise or Razan Grief as well. I'll also include a complete run using a team with Awakened Hilde and Lin Xian at the end of this video for your reference. And that's all for this guide this season. This video was meant to be brief and a little bit overgeneralized to help as many people as possible. So if you have any questions, please feel free to leave it in the comment section below and I will answer them to the best of my abilities. Or you can drop by my Discord channel and we'll see how the community can help each other. Until the next video, good luck with your runs. Bye!